hellfire, just absolutely charred. We stream without you regardless.
They're the lame ones here.
Wibbledy-dibbledy.
Hi, I'm Kit, and I play.
What name did he put on stream?
Bonono.
Oh my god.
What is Bonono?
It's banana, but with nose.
Oh, I thought it was bonobo without the B.
Hi, I'm Kit. I play Anna, the tiefling cleric barbarian who sims for all the MILFs, because that's how it be. They are actually on, she's on a quest to find this one legendary MILF. And it's only talked about in legends, and it happens, the only thing that they can find in the text is that for some reason it's called Felix's MILF. I just don't really understand.
I'm going to.
Yet.
I was gonna
make a joke about how it was actually Ruby's mom that you were looking for, because that's a whole thing, but no.
Ruby's mom has got it going on.
No, please. No.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
They have a great degree in. They're a scholar. This MILF is knows a lot about religious trauma specifically.
She would be an elf wizard. Here's the thing though. When Kit meets my actual mom, they're going to regret this so much.
I know,
because my mom, she's gonna introduce herself as doctor and like,
but that's gonna be better. Okay.
No, you will understand when you meet my mom, Kit. Just the energy is so opposite. Like, you are going to just feel your heart just sink in your chest and be like, oh god, this woman could destroy me.
In a wonderful way.
No, not like that.
Hi everyone, I'm Dylan. I play Ruby, the druid, our resident druid monk who is ready to school these pricks at politics.
Nice. I will leave. I hope you know.
I gave you an out. You could have stopped. This whole conversation could have ended. I gave you such a good out. You are continuing it.
Okay, but here's the thing. This conversation has been ongoing since a Jackbox game last week. Thanks.
It's just gonna be Felix's MILF. It's not specifically a Felix.
Right, thanks. Yeah.
Bad evil.
Anyways, hi, I'm Felix. I play Kiva, our gnome rogue. Who's about to fucking verbally smack down on some politics. Yeah. Anyways. Leah, your turn.
Hello everyone, I'm Leah. I play Stenna, half-elf necromancer wizard. Stenna doesn't enjoy politics and is really like this close to just fucking up the whole situation, but we'll try not to.
I have a feeling we're all about this close from fucking up the situation.
I'm just trying to get out my...
Wouldn't it be wild if all of a sudden we just attacked these motherfuckers? Just killed them all.
Just kill them all.
I don't know if we could though. I think they're probably too high level.
Probably.
Lord of the Wild Hunt is not a thing to be fucked with.
And I'm a bonono.
I am just trying to get out my like crackhead energy that Anna has before I have to be super serious. So that's my reasoning. If Felix's mom ever watches this tape,
Please
no, you did it.
Stop. Just drop it. I don't want it to become a joke.
Okay, I'll let it be. Okay, but no, it's your time to shine.
All right.
Dibbledy
So,
dibbledy.
as I said, okay. So, because last week Kiva spent very much time impressing upon me their desire that they spent time very much helping try to do their best to school you all in what's going to be going on when you go in here. I now will give you some information before this begins. You are now stepping into the world of grand politics. High politics.
Oh, okay, spicy.
Every action you take, every word you say, and every word you don't say
Are we watching us?
may or may not have consequences.
Oh shit.
These are people who represent nations. Words are the only thing that matter because they have unlimited amounts of force.
No.
Every breath you take,
Yeah.
I'll be watching you.
Ew.
Suffice to say, quite literally, Dylan, yes, I have 2 notebooks right now. I will be keeping note of everything you do.
Shit, and it's recorded, so you'll be able to.
Because this may or may not have personal ramifications, party-wide ramifications, story-wide ramifications. Who knows?
I think Bonono knows.
Bonono knows.
I think Bonono knows.
Bonono knows.
I mean, Bonono doesn't know what we're gonna do.
No, but the Bonono will know what happens.
Yeah.
Bonono's gonna make.
The Bonono gets to
Smiles
decide what
inside.
happens, which is a
The
scary
Bonono
position.
is what happens.
Oh no.
Oh, Bonono, no.
Oh, Bonono,
Bonono,
no.
no.
All right. As we left off then, we all, the party, had finally been led into the room where the discussion will be happening. The room where it happens, so to speak.
Shut
Do
the
not
fuck
turn on my
up.
musical theater love. Do
Shut
not.
the fuck up.
We'll burst out into song right now.
I will not stop you.
I will.
So, if you guys need a refresher, the current tax rate on the town is 130 gold pieces a month.
I have notes.
The current food that the town has provided is 120 pounds a month. The town creates 500 gold pieces a month. The town requires 200 pounds of food a month. The contract you were handed, the offer
Was bullshit.
keeps the tax rate the same. Food is increased to 180 pounds a month. Training for woodsman training and general retraining to turn a farmer into a woodsman will be provided at the cost of an additional 150 gold pieces a month for townwide training. All trees cleared will be property of the kingdom. However, all land developed from the trees being cleared away will be put and subsumed into the town and allowed for its own expansion and growth. And the town will be provided guards. There are also titles, lands, and deeds included for whoever the town elects to be mayor.
But then also with the guards, we have to house, feed, clothe them, and that's going to take extra resources regardless.
Indeed, yes. You
But we
all,
also have to pay them?
You all
Fucker.
stand now, well, sit now, 4 across, facing the 3 lords. The room is beautifully lit, sun pouring in as the walls and ceiling are all seemingly made of glass. The large symbol of the kingdom behind you, the sun breaking through the mask, surrounded by 12 small discs, all blank. The Lord's chairs have a symbol much the same. However, each of the chairs, one of the discs is instead represented by a small symbol carved into that disc, the symbol of the Lord's kingdom. The rest are still blank. Brandelbaum, whose assistant handed you the contract, is now staring at you expectantly, the other lords waiting as well, seeing and gauging what you will do next.
I believe we ended last time with me basically asking how they planned to harvest the trees.
Okay.
Yeah, we hooked them.
That being the case, Brandelbaum smiles, looks to his other lords. Well, as the interests of the kingdom are necessary and in order, we will hopefully be able to gainfully employ the residents of this town after, of course, they've had proper training. We wouldn't want any safety mishaps to occur now, would we? That would be devastating.
No, we would not, but that still does not answer the question of how you plan to teach them to fell these trees.
We have had some practice in remote branches that we have sent expedition teams to. Well, we do not have a perfect technique right now. There are many ways we could, with minimal risk, teach the residents of this town woodcutting techniques that we find are very much applicable to this style of trees. And I'm sure that they will adapt and overcome. They are a resilient people.
I'm not saying that, but like, okay, as the player, that's bullshit because I mean, obviously Anna hasn't cut a fucking tree down before, but like, she's pretty strong. So like, if those villagers tried to do what she did, which was just like hard head her way through, like just like steamroll, they would not get close.
If they knew how to harvest the trees, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They would just be doing it.
Yeah. They would have already started doing this while we were gone. And like the villagers would have been doing that too, because I think that they would have seen that as profit and they would have started doing that regardless.
Ruby kind of just wants to pull out the saw. But
don't.
Yeah.
Please do not. Then they might kill you to get that saw because they'll be like,
he already knows you have it.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that it works.
And the other two, who I'm frankly more afraid of, don't know that I have it.
Yeah, I'm quite sure he wouldn't share that information as an information broker.
What you could do is you could pull out the sapling.
We could. Although I think maybe we should.
The Grand Salamence really wants that. And
I don't want to.
I don't think we should bring it out just yet.
I don't really think we should pull anything out until we have. Because, I mean, we haven't signed this and we're not going to sign it. But if we just pull it out, they're just going to take it, I think. Like.
Okay.
And I think someone that is more persuasive than Ruby needs to start talking.
Okay.
Yeah, this is your time to shine, Felix.
Fuck. Interesting.
It'd be a bad idea to ask them what it would require for the town to break even, like what they would request in exchange for this town getting the supplies it needs.
That's still giving them a lot of power, though. That's still giving them a lot of like.
I mean, I'm assuming they know the numbers already, so the math is already there.
I know, but they're not gonna necessarily tell us the truth anyways. And I feel like it would more show that we don't really have a good footing on our own, like that we don't know our own value. And if they do give us a number and we can't pay that, or we don't want to pay that, then like, well, now that was the thing that they just said, like they were going, that was their only break even. So I feel like we should probably start trying to negotiate with our own thing, give them less stability on their own ground. If we give our own offer or just something that won't make them feel super comfortable about the situation, because they've set all the terms so far. They've made sure that Triana's not here in the room. They've made sure that we were here when we had we didn't want to be here necessarily. Like we weren't, I mean, like us as players wanted to be here, but like the characters had no fucking clue that they were going to get summoned before these like really, really important people. And they also have all the actual like physical like manpower and then like political clout that none of us have. And so honestly, they could just obliterate us like fucking pimples, like just like immediately just get rid of us. But
hey, Will, before we went into this, we did talk about a sliding scale pay system so that they're to basically allow their VIPs VIP access, but it would cost money and the money would go to the town. Could me and Kiva have written up like a proposal for that?
Sure. Yeah. That
like
sounds...
I think it would be like 10 gold pieces, because these villagers don't have that kind of money.
That sounds reasonable.
And it's not it means nothing for these VIPs.
It sounds perfectly reasonable that you would have drafted that with Kiva the night before.
Cool. I'm gonna let Kiva do stuff with that, but
thanks.
Because you got better stats than me. That's just
Let's see. Well, I wonder how well you expect these farmers to function as lumberjacks when, well, having to house and feed a town guard as well as the whole town, when, I mean, this doesn't exactly include everything you want.
And at that, Tyrese speaks up. Oh, please do tell us what else it is that we want.
Well, recently, due to some large earthquakes in the area, the Grand Artificer's dungeon was, well, I'm sure you know.
The plan did say stuff about it. Their proposal was that their proposal was that the VIPs wouldn't pay anything and everyone else would have to pay stuff, and then that money would go to the kingdom, not to us.
Right.
Not to the village, which is absolute bullshit.
Especially since we would be housing the guards that would also be like essentially extending their guard to that place. So like it just doesn't. They're just clearly taking advantage of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I will actually send some of my notes to the chat.
I have notes, but that did not. Yeah.
And don't worry, small things like that, I'm not counting against anything.
No. Trying to think. This is difficult.
Welcome to your boss fight.
Yeah, really.
I would rather fight Tiamat, I think.
Okay. I know all that stuff. Now, Well, this is a very good contract for the royal family. But, well, doesn't exactly benefit either of us personally, does it?
Tyrese nods their head gracefully and responds, "The mind of a merchant is always one that works well and fast. I do admit there are some unfortunate expenses on the personal side, but I must ask, is it not the duty of every citizen of the kingdom to support the will of the king?"
Oh, well, of course, I couldn't agree more. However, there's no reason that you couldn't support the will of the king while also having some personal gain, is there not?
I do see your point. Tell me, what do you suggest?
Well, we have information that I know all three of you would like to have personally. And you all have the ability to make this contract a little easier on the people of the town, who, of course, would be instruments in this deal. It's very important that they are benefited in some manner. Otherwise, who knows what they would do.
I can understand the sentiment, but are you suggesting that if given a heavy burden, this town might rebel against the kingdom? Is there a danger here that we should be aware of?
No. I was merely suggesting that they might not work to their fullest potential if they are not
Yes.
compensated properly.
I think I understand. And how would you best alleviate some of these burdens on the townsfolk? I would love to hear your suggestions.
Of course. Well, we've all spent quite a bit of time in this town, getting to know the people, getting to know their leaders. And, well, I'm assuming, of course, that the crown wants the tax rate to remain the same.
It is high, but the crown, everyone is pressed for money in times of war, as I'm sure you are aware.
Of course, of course.
That's literally the opposite of how war works, but okay.
We're going with it.
Oh, it's the
Luffy did not say that.
It's
I said
absolutely
that.
the opposite, but it's also the excuse everyone gives to squeeze money out of people in times of war.
Yeah, I know.
See, once we do, of course, have the best possible way to make profit off of these trees, I feel like a certain larger percentage, of course, of that profit would, of course, go to the town. That's simply how that must work. Of course, these are the townspeople, they're doing the work, but fuck. I started a sentence and now I don't know where I'm going with it.
You could bring up our proposal for the Grand Artificers thing as a way of supplementing some of the money that they need to spend.
Okay, so I'm gonna like pull out the paper. A proposal for how to deal with the situation with the Grand Artificers dungeon, of course.
As you put the paper down, you notice Therese give a small flick of their hand. And as they do, a attendant from the shadows of the room rushes forward to grab it. You notice this attendant is in similar colored robes to Tyrese. The gold and the red, the whites, the yellows, all the signifying sun colors. However, theirs is much more simple. Theirs doesn't contain any golds. It is a streak of yellow across a red overcoat, similar to, akin to that of a sunbeam, with plain white clothes underneath. Their head is completely covered in wrappings and bandages, completely unable to be seen behind which, and on the bandages is written seemingly pages and pages of Holy Scripture.
Yikes. I kind of want to keep an eye, make sure that
Can I roll a perception check to see like who else is in the room with us?
Sure.
I want to roll a perception check specifically to make sure that nobody tampers with anything on our draft here.
Absolutely.
That is 22.
Okay, so looking around the room, glancing around the room, you do notice that for each lord, there appears to be an attendant standing in the wings. However, Anna, while you can't see anyone, you get this prickling feeling on the back of your neck that you only get when you know that there's eyes watching you.
Do I know whose eyes? Does this feel familiar?
No, this doesn't feel familiar. No,
okay.
This feels like there's more people in this room than just the 3 attendants and you all.
I feel like... Okay, can I retcon something?
Sure.
I feel like Kiva, in preparing us all for this, we all know that we can't do Mind Link right now, because if we do that, then Thrall can hear. I think Kiva would have come up with like some hand signals to like be like, hey, something kinky's going on.
Or I will allow some basic hand signals.
Wait, something kinky?
Hinky.
Oh, okay. I was like,
no, that's
what?
Something kinky going on around here.
I mean, that's obvious because there's the fucking weird spider shit.
I feel like
maybe it's vanilla for them. You don't know.
It's not. Yeah, it's not kinky if you are a spider.
Quote of the day.
Not called bondage if you're already a spider and just putting people up.
Oh, that's not
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not what we said.
That's my
I got a 24, by the way.
Okay.
My perception.
Keeping an eye on the paper, you do not see any tampering at all. It seems like the attendant staying fully in view of everyone so as to give the appearance of this being absolutely above the table. Moves the paper with both hands in view of you from one end of the table to the other end of the table and openly hands it to Tyrese.
Can I roll insight as they read this?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Stenna's just sitting at the table very painfully, just like petting
18.
over. Wondering if this is worse than wizard prison.
Maybe.
Stenna, roll me a perception check.
At least we were alone in wizard prison for most of it.
Yeah, at least we didn't have to deal with like world-changing politics in wizard prison.
Just world-ending dragons.
Yeah.
That at least was a situation we could probably punch, though.
Yeah.
Probably punch.
This, we the players have to actually think about.
On a scale
I
of
rolled a
probably,
nat 1, it's great.
Oh no.
On a scale of probably could punch and can't punch at all, where does this fall?
No punch. There's no punch here.
No punch. Damn.
So
I have an idea. Um,
Oh boy.
You notice the Tyrese is the one reading over the paper right now before they hand it off to Brandlebaum and then to Trell. All of them read the paper. Each one, Ruby, as you look at them, you notice honestly nothing more than the occasional raising of an eyebrow, rereading a sentence or two, but otherwise an impassive face.
I would like to specify, I think it would be 10 gold per person in a party.
Yes.
Not 10 gold per party.
When all three lords have finished reading the proposal, Tyrese looks back up at you. Your proposal is not altogether flawed in its reasoning, and we could find a way to back this smoothly back home. However, I must say, as it is right now, the lords will not like seeing them perceived to being treated as lesser than the common folk. If they have to pay and others don't.
Well,
now,
is that what we actually wrote? I thought we had like they still pay. It's just that the
Well, they just
pays
pay
higher.
I could absolutely find a way to deal with this political blowback for you. I just require a small favor in return.
Okay, so wait, what exactly did we say for the townsfolk? So I just want to make that clear. So for the townsfolk, I think probably like what 2 gold at. Like,
no, not even
like,
gold. For the
1.
townsfolk, they don't have gold.
Okay,
They've got
then how
copper or
much?
silver.
And how much should they
I
be
think it would.
paying?
I don't know. I think maybe if you like, I think it would be. I think what we were thinking was a sliding scale of like you don't have to pay, but you'll be waiting a very long time, or and then depending on how much you pay,
Okay.
it will boost you up in the wait list kind of thing.
No, that is absolutely what you proposed.
Yeah.
It's just, rich people don't
Um, I would like to maybe reframe the thinking. Don't think of it as a fee, but a generous offering to support the town.
Oh,
Small
I
pittance.
understand entirely, and I agree with you even. It is a noble effort and a worthy goal, supporting the town, letting those here prosper and thrive. It is a noble cause. However, you must understand, my dear monk, those who are still attached to worldly possessions are very much attached to their gold.
Who is speaking? Is it Threll?
This
or
is
it-
Tyrese.
Okay. I have. Okay.
Reese is the one that wants the trees.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait. Let me say something first. I'm sure yourself and all those lords back at home would understand that this is just a small pittance for what they would gain from such a place. I mean,
Question.
we all can
Did
tell.
you say this before Tyrese started speaking, or did you interrupt them?
I think after they were done.
They haven't finished.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood what you said. Well, I never can tell.
Yeah,
So that's not.
I can't tell
No.
either.
I'm not holding that against you. That's why I asked the question.
Okay. Then I'll
No
let
worries.
you keep
I'm not
talking.
holding that against you. That's why I asked.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just drink my tea.
Drink your tea. Now, I understand it. It is a noble pursuit, but understand those who are attached to their worldly possessions very much are not want to get rid of it. Now, as I was saying, I support your cause wholeheartedly, and I would love to use what resources I have at my disposal to better smooth this over with those who would be paying to expedite their experience in this dungeon. I think it is a wonderful idea, but the value in doing so, I would simply require a small favor from you in return.
What are the other
I think that
two? Like, how are
Now
the
you
other
can
two looking?
Anna.
Yeah, wait. Okay, I do want to see how they're looking. How the other one's looking. Are they
The
just
other
letting
two-
Therese talk?
The other two are just letting Tyrese talk.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you and all those lovely lords back home would understand that it's just a small pittance for what they would gain from such a lucrative place. I mean, we all know that this new finding on this continent could not only fund any war that you wanted to ensue, but also give you any weapons or even things that we don't even know or understand that could be used for warfare for just a small pittance of what you would have to pay. Honestly, it's not even a payment, it's more of an investment.
And at this, Brandlebaum speaks up.
Mm.
My very
Excellent.
dear child, my very young child,
I don't like
I do
that.
wish that you understand this. You are suggesting what I believe to be a best case scenario. To achieve what you so eloquently describe, a weapon of great power, finances to fund a war. Now, these things are very much difficult to attain. So if my information now is to be believed, the challenges to attain these would be astronomical in difficulty. Something almost impossible to achieve. Can you imagine any simple lord or lordling who's here for a day of fun, risking his life to achieve such things when he can have that simply at home?
I would
Have
never
you
think that
wait?
a lord would do it themselves.
This
That'd
is for
be
this is for
outrageous.
entertainment.
Wait.
My friend.
My lord, have you not seen the dungeon?
Myself, no. I have not
Oh,
had time.
well, let me assure you, there are various levels. So if someone were only there to entertain themselves for a day, there are lower level, less difficult but less rewarding, I would
Thank
say,
you, my dear little
perhaps.
gnome. That is my point exactly I'm trying to make to your friend here. The lordlings are not coming to achieve fortunes of immense amounts or power unending. It's things they already have. They don't want to risk their lives for such silly things to them. They are here for a day of fun. A day where they can come back and tell their friends they slew the dragon. Now,
Wait, they expect to slay a dragon for like for fun?
It's a metaphor,
I know,
kid.
but that'd be okay. But like the thing is, people actually do that shit. So like the idea of being like, oh
Yeah.
yes, slayed this dragon.
yeah,
Just
okay.
fun though, funsies. But Anna's not saying this, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but Kit, you've dealt with rich kids when you've been TAing camps before. You know those kids who love to come back and be like, oh yeah, my parents took me to Boca this summer.
Yeah. No, you got it. You got me. Okay. I had an idea.
Now,
What favor would you ask of us?
oh, that. And once again, Tyrese speaks up. For me, I just require the retrieval of a certain artifact of religious importance from the dungeon. It's one we'd lost many years ago, and our followers would deeply appreciate its return. Brandlebaum then speaks up. Well, since you asked after I spoke, I could also do this for you. I don't really have an interest so much in the dungeon, but if you could find me some very rare animals to hunt, I could be convinced.
Helios is still keeping the child away from this building, yes?
Yes, Helios
Good.
is very far away.
I'm guessing they wouldn't be interested in the
Can
child.
I roll insight to see if what I want to do would work or is a good idea?
Sure, what did you want to do?
I want to present the sapling to Tyrese and see if that would work as a favor instead of...
I don't think you should show it right now. I think what we should say Because if you show it right now, then they'll
let you
feel
roll.
like they're ready.
Is this rolling insight or rolling persuasion?
I'll let you roll insight.
Okay,
See what you
cool.
Feel. Yeah. Nope, tree's out. You said it.
It's for insight, that's an 18 plus 6, 24.
As best
Damn.
you can gather in this situation, from what you can wow, that was a weird. From what you can tell,
You're speaking in bound bomb
very much does want this tree. As a sapling, however, and one that requires a lot of resources, it might not be an immediate sell, but it could be a very powerful bargaining chip if used correctly.
I think we shouldn't show it yet. I think we should be like, should we come into the opportunity of having this and like presenting it that way without telling them that we already have it, because then they could just be like, well, fuck that, we're just gonna steal it from you later.
But currently you have 2 offers on the table for assistance in this small problem, and Threll has remained silent.
I don't think we should take it.
I have the perfect animals for this guy to hunt.
What? Who? What?
The things that make the metal.
But wait, do we want to give that metal to them? Do we want them to even know about that shit? I mean, like, not saying that they're strong.
We want them to know about it. That's our biggest bargaining chip, is that we know where this metal is.
Yeah, but do we want to release this like so soon?
Well, we're not gonna just say it right now.
I know, but like
I think that it is an opportunity to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If we right now bring up circle back to the fact that we have found a way to cut down the trees to harvest their bark, which the spider person wants to harvest I think actually Brandlebutt also wants the bark. All 3 of these people really want these trees, so if we bring up the fact that we know how to cut them down right now, and we know where to find the metal that can do it, and that metal happens to come from a certain exotic animal.
True. We'd be taking out a lot of these things. But so I just want to, for recap of what we have said in the past about what we would think we could negotiate. We've said we could do domestic trade where they have monopoly on the international trade of like these trees. So we have, the actual town would have like domestic trade rights, and then they would have a monopoly on all international trade, which like is outside of this continent, outside of like in other continents.
Yeah, farmers would be able to do that anyway.
Yeah, we can also grow a sapling, which we've already said, but we'd give them higher access to the dungeon, but they would have to pay more for the access, and that all goes to the townspeople to help industrialize the town, to make it not only safer for people to actually get to the dungeon and also have a safer place and more comfortable place for all those lords to rest. We also have a way to collect sap and bark relatively easily, because you don't necessarily need like a whole saw in order to get all of that. The Grand Artificer can help supplement that money, and we're in a difficult situation, or we're in a different situation rather than just like, oh, you can only apply taxes to these people. You can get all of that kind of funds from the Artificer's place.
For the dungeon, I do also want to say, I feel like we included in the contract thing we drafted up that the lords would have sole access to the higher levels of the dungeon. Because obviously they wouldn't want just any...
It seems like, though, I think that the restrictions put in place is the price. A common person's not going to have 10 gold pieces to go into a dungeon, and even still, they're not going to be powerful enough to do anything about it.
Okay. What if we give the lower dungeons, they give all of that access. The ones that are like purely like you barely get anything, they get absolute complete monopoly on those, because it wouldn't really actually help much of the townspeople. Yeah, some people might be like, oh, I want some small pittance and like I just need like an extra fun, but like I think that they can also get that from like higher level dungeons. But if we keep it at the higher ones, no, if we give them the lower level ones, then we can be like, it's an exclusive access kind of thing. Because rich people love exclusive shit and they're willing to pay like platinum coins for that shit. Whether it's just like they just want to have their picture in front of this one thing that nobody else has access to. As long as it's exclusive only to them and nobody else can get to it, they would pay anything.
I think that that is a bad idea, frankly. No offense, kid.
Here's the thing. All these townspeople are benefiting from these lower levels. There was that guy who's cured his wife who was dying. That like small pittances to these people is a lot of money. So I think that just having it restricted based on like the time that you can enter, but you can still choose whichever level you want to go in, is probably better for everyone.
Yes, but I also think that because most towns, like common people, wouldn't want to be going into the really high level dungeons anyways, I don't think that like restricting that, it's kind of like what Kit said, but like with the opposite level. Like it's exclusive for only the lords,
but they won't use them. Well, that's the issue.
Yes, they will, because
they just told us that they wouldn't be doing that.
Not
most of the time.
Not personally,
but they would just they want to personally go there in order to be like, we did like they like I went to Disneyland. Like they just want to show that like they went to Disneyland.
Okay, but consider the crown really wants the really powerful stuff that it can get.
I know.
So having the higher levels in the dungeon restricted to like elite people, like elite teams hired by these people specifically to beat that part of the dungeon, it would minimize any risk of random adventurers such as ourselves from gaining possibly war ending super weapons. Because that would be something that would benefit the crown and the lords.
Because we're pandering more to the crown anyways. I know the lords would get angry, but like
the
they would get their feathers ruffled, but they don't determine the shit.
And the lords don't care so much about the dungeon. That's what the crown wants.
So here's what I don't understand. Why are we trying to renegotiate the contract right now?
No. I was thinking like this was something else that like I put in like before. I just think that this would be a good idea.
Well, but they were already okay with just paying a higher price to get in faster. So why are we trying to sweeten the deal for them?
No, we're trying to make it sense. Because they're trying to get us to sweeten the deal with them right now, trying to get them to like mitigate potential issues in the future with the lords. And I feel like even if there aren't any issues, they'll make issues in order to make it harder for us.
So the only thing that the only thing that they want us to do is help them individually right now. They're saying that if we do a favor for them, they will put their backing behind this proposal. So it just seems like we are talking ourselves down.
You keep interrupting.
Sorry.
So 2 questions. First of all, Alana got her arm from Brandalbaum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Did Alana then tell Brandalbaum where she was attacked and how she was attacked? Because if he already has that information, that's not a bargaining chip for us.
True.
Second,
I don't.
Alana
did not. Would have, but yeah.
She did. Okay, good.
Second, when we went to the dungeon, they gave us a bead that indicated the group and the level that we were at, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's regulating that system? Because if the crown just puts in their own guards, or the merchants just buckle to the crown if they want something, how is this system even enforceable at all?
True.
Also, if the artificer's dungeon itself picks the levels for the person who walks in, which is also possible, then it's also unregulatable.
Can we, do you remember how it was laid out? Can we do like a memory check, or will you just tell us?
Sure. Yeah, it's so in general, like no matter where you go, the dungeon will attempt to provide as best it can a solution to what you wish. and will provide you a challenge appropriate to the level of that. However, as Stenna did say, you were handed beads and levels. Because...
By who?
So currently, this is being run just by seemingly a large-scale mercenary group that was brought together by multiple towns.
Okay.
It's very much ragtag. There's, you know...
Am I remembering this wrong, that you can't go into a level that you've already completed? Because I feel like the bead ranking system, we came out and it was like, you've completed this one.
So what more it means is how far, like when you complete one of the higher of like this level, you can go down to lower and lower. The deeper you go, the more it's more the more dangerous, but the more reward there is possibility of getting.
Oh, so it's giving, so the beads give you access to lower levels, not
well,
restrict
the beads,
you from going
the beads
to
basically
ones.
are created by the guard there. They have no interaction with the dungeon. They're just to signify, you know, you are strong enough to pass this level of challenge that was arbitrarily decided after, you know, a couple people died. So now you can go down to this level of challenge.
Okay.
Currently, the only systems in place are systems decided by this large group that has built some kind of system of order around the dungeon after many, many people had gone in and died horribly because they didn't understand the dungeon and top versus bottom.
I mean, the fact that we know so much about the dungeon already, or at least the people around us like know about it, is already a bargaining chip. The fact that they don't know too much. I mean, Randall Ball's never been there. He's only getting it from like information brokering. Like, so like the fact that we actually know so much about the dungeons and that we can help guide the lords to a better place, to a place where they would actually get that entertainment. I think that already would be helpful. And I mean, we could like, because I'm sure that there's multiple different avenues, right? Like, it's not like one of them is like the low level area and like you can only go through like one like tunnel.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, we could do like just one of them, or like one or two of them are only for the lords or whatever, in order to make them feel like, oh, wow, like we did our Disneyland trip, and then like go back and like fuck off. And like that wouldn't take away too much stuff from the actual townspeople, because I mean there's different avenues. I mean, like when we went, there was like multiple paths, so I think like even one tunnel could lead to like 4 different paths, and we were in like a high level one, so if we had 2 paths, I'm sure that they have like 4.
So I still don't understand why we're trying to make the deal better for them, because
We're
they're
not trying-
still going to ask us favors.
No, we're trying to make it so they don't ask us favors, because if they don't ask us favors, then we don't like, we're trying not to owe them anything is the issue. Because if they say, oh, well, like, you know, it got really, really hard like this past season, we're like, yeah, you did this for me last season, but like, dang, those lords are really breathing down my neck. I really need something like sweeten the pot. Then that definitely, like, that us giving them a favor now could potentially lead to us giving them more favors in the future. And I'm just nervous about that.
Frankly, for me, this just occurred as something that Kiba would have thought of to put into the contract. Like, we don't have to make it so that that was what happened, but I do think that that would have occurred to Kiba and that they would have like put that in.
I think that once this,
I don't see what do you?
I can't. We can't see that.
It's not. Oh, that's the dungeon in it.
Oh, that's what it looks like. It's kind of like a coliseum, but like a bunch of different tunnels along each row. Okay, we can't hear you.
A bunch of rows descending and descending and descending and descending.
Oh, okay, cool. How deep does it go? Do you know? Like, or like, do people know?
Extreme. I mean, yeah, there is a bottom, but it's like 120 layers.
Oh, okay. Then, and each one's like the ones at the very top, which are the lowest levels, have like the most tunnels. Then, right?
Yeah.
Or is it like, is it a funnel, or is it more of like a cylinder down?
It's more of a cylinder.
Okay. Yeah.
Do we know if there is an expiration date for whatever contract we're making with the kingdom? or if it will just continue on until someone decides that we need to renegotiate.
So, yeah, looking at the contract, it looks like it is one that is assumed renewed. However, there is in place bi-yearly discussions to go over any changes or additions to the contract.
So they couldn't just change it whenever they wanted to.
This is not something that they can just change arbitrarily.
But they're not asking for this in the contract. They're asking for favors off the books.
Yes.
Yeah, but once the contract is signed, they can't change their word.
No, they cannot. This is binding.
It would look real fucking bad if we didn't do whatever the favors
I'm not
were,
suggesting that we don't do the favors. I'm just saying they can't use their favors as leverage later.
Yes, no. The favor is for the contract.
Although they could, since these aren't on the books, they could just add more favors. I mean, like, we wouldn't necessarily have to comply, but they could add pressure. We don't have to comply in accordance with the contract, but because it's off the books, that makes it more dicey, because then they also don't need to comply using the contract.
Well, but they don't have any power to change the contract after.
Not the contract, but add other shit to it. So maybe
but they don't.
Listen to me. They don't add things to the actual contract, but they add stressors to it. So let's say, we have the guards, right? So if we did what they wanted us to do, which is that we take in guards, and then we also have to, like, feed and house those guards. Well, maybe they make these guards unruly. They choose the absolute worst fucking people that absolutely are basic ruffians anywhere else, and then they put them as the people that we have to deal with. And now we have thugs in our town, and they also are, like, the guards that we're supposed to also take care of. And so then that makes it harder for us. It's still in compliance with the contract, because the contract doesn't say necessarily that we have to have the best guards. It just says they're going to give us guards. So they could do other things like that. Like, maybe if we were like, okay, well, we have all the power and we get all the money from, like, the place, and, like, they still pay a tax. Well, maybe they make it harder for the actual people to get to the artificer's place. So now we still have control over the artificer's place necessarily, but, like, they actually have the actual power because they're the ones that actually have a secure route to it. Maybe they add, like, bandits around. Like, they can do things outside of the contract to fuck with us. And that's the whole thing about what they're saying, is that the reason why we need favors with them, or, like, supposedly need favors, is because they want to have this off the books, because it could fuck with us more, essentially.
Kit, I don't think that's necessarily what's going on, though.
I think that it's a huge possibility, and we'll
I
also
think that
smile
them
at one
directly
point,
fucking with their capital city would be a bad move for all of them.
Yeah,
and
I think it would
also
look bad.
They don't necessarily have direct authority over the city. That would be the crown. They have authority over their kingdoms, and they're, like, representing the crown in this situation. But you might be right. I don't know. But
I mean, these people are so powerful that they have things that, like, that they aren't above the crown, but they're at pretty close to that level, if, like, at the highest level that you could be under the crown. And they also, like, they don't necessarily have to do things specifically to the capital city. They can do things that, like, oh, whoops, there's bandits here. Where did they come from? Looks like you need the Lord of the Wild Hunt to help you. Or, like,
but Kit, I don't think they're gonna do that, because I think that they like our contract well enough. I think that they like.
I think if we reject their favors right now and don't swing the pot somewhere else, that they would.
Well, yeah, but we're not gonna reject their favors, though.
I feel like it leads to, like, a slippery slope, though.
Well, they're asking for one favor, all right? Like, this is the favor they are saying verbally, that they are going to make sure that this works.
Can we make another contract with them so they actually, like, it's only one and done? Because I don't like it off the books. I don't like.
Well, that's why I was proposing that we use our other knowledge to convince them not actually do favors for them. Like, we say, hey, this is how we plan to use the trees. This is what we're offering.
I'm done with that. Leah, you sound like you had something you wanted to say.
For me, it's mostly just, I think the details are important for the town. the favors and what they want are important to us personally, but that's as far as it goes. Like, I'd be more inclined to think that based on what they know about Kiva, based on what they can probably infer about the rest of us, they're more interested in seeing what we're gonna do for the short term and then moving on. Fuck the town. They're doing it for the crown. They probably are more curious about us as like the bauble of the week. And
I
then
think
they move
also
on.
they are not very likely to start fucking with their capital city, because this would be a huge source of revenue for them. And if they're just like, oh, oops, there's bandits, that's no one's going to come here. A capital city is supposed to be the center of trade and commerce and tourism.
Bandits, my favorite
Bandits, it makes less political sense for them to start ruining the town if four people stop doing what they want. Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to sabotage their own capital city in search of personal favors.
Kit, we're not that special.
I know, okay, but like they're also like, this town isn't that special. Yes, like we're the capital city, but they're really just using that in order to get an avenue to the artificer's place because we're the closest.
And the trees.
They want the trees.
Yeah, but like also at the same time, like they aren't necessarily like, yeah, they are representatives of the crown, but they don't actually have as much of a stake as the crown. Like, yes, they want the trees, they want the money of that, but like they don't actually like, they can get that.
I would argue that
if they betray the crown, they lose their power.
I would say that they could do it covertly at the same time though, because there's always that background shit. There's always that like back alley,
but Kit,
backroom bullshit.
Consider just how powerful the crown is. The crown beat these people the first time around. The crown has the ravens. It has spies. It has the most powerful people.
And some of them
are and you also have the other lords to contend with. If one of these lords all of a sudden is getting so many favors, so many things, and gaining too much power, a little too much money, the other lords, you can bet your ass, are going to take notice. They're not going to be happy about it. There are checks and balances in place.
All right. Yeah, I see your point. I like these talks, but I also hate them because I get so anxious. Because you never know. Like, I don't know how far Will wants to fucking take this shit.
I mean, if they start fucking with people, we start cutting off heads. So that's...
Yeah, but we don't have the resources for this. Then,
but we do
have an army of monks.
Also, we have Triana, we have Alana. We are the only ones who have any knowledge of what's across the mountains.
And we has like a BDSM army.
We have Penelope.
Across the fucking ocean. They're not here.
We have an insane immortal
army. Fear me.
America didn't win the Revolutionary War because they were good at war. They won because all their army was here and not crossing the ocean all the time.
My gimps shall swarm the lands, drown the seas, black out the skies.
Kit, think about the people we know, okay? We've got Triana, we have Alana, we have all of the monks, we have Penelope, who is an insane, ancient, immortal gnome wizard.
Triana has not just a religious relationship with her god, a personal one.
Yeah, but Triana knows God, okay?
But they're not infallible. Like, I think the thing is, like, yes, we think that they're really, really powerful, and like they are really, really powerful, but like we can't just like, I mean, Alana could get sick one day. Like Triana could just like be taking care of her son one day, like, and like it maybe like he really needs like bedside care. Like they aren't gonna always be there and absolutely battle ready every single time. They're not gonna
but frankly,
if they start fucking with the town, that's a long-term thing. That's not.
Do you really think that Triana's not gonna go out of her way to protect this town?
Oh, I don't doubt that, but I'm saying that she's not all powerful. I don't think that she can fight off 2,000 people. Yeah, but like, I don't want us to be in that position because like, if the crown decides, or like if they all decide like covertly to like, I mean, okay, so Yes, the crown does have the most power over each of them individually, but they don't need to not have alliances with each other. So they could easily like have an alliance together and then all team up and take over this capital. The crown could be completely unawares because it is across the continent. Even if they have the ravens, they might not be there in time. And then Toronto wouldn't be able to like take on two different armies that were put together. Like
okay, and that
all
would
of these
be a
other
bad
countries,
fucking look.
All of these other countries are
So?
across the ocean, right? Will?
But they're all wanting to colonize this area.
Yes, I understand that. But there is no way that they could transport an army without the crown knowing.
They could hire an army here.
Yeah, how would they do that
There's
without
no
the
one
crown
here.
knowing?
Like there's not enough people here to hire an army.
We're hiring the trees.
Yeah, we speak for the trees.
And there's no way for them to know that that anyone they pay is going to be loyal. And I think that it would be worse politically for them to even directly attacking the town here, or trying to set up their own like military occupation. Their kingdoms would be obliterated.
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily about what they can do here. It's about what the consequences could be for them back on the other continent. They could be stripped of their titles. They could have their lands destroyed straight up.
I guess it'd be more of like whether or not they think that the benefits of conquering this area would outweigh the costs of being over there. Because I mean, they don't need to give a shit about the people that they rule over. If they can get enough power, if they get enough people that would like support them over here, I mean.
Well, look at it this way. If they have enough power to conquer an entire continent that they have no direct hold over, then we're fucked either way. There's nothing we can do. So short term, we just make sure we have the best deal possible. And I don't think that it doesn't make sense for them to try and conquer this place.
Yeah, I mean, like, what could it get them? The Artificer's dungeon. Whoop-de-doo. None of these guys really want that anyways. They want the trees. They don't have a way to get the trees without us. We have more power here because we have the only way to access what they want.
But as soon as we give it to them.
As soon as we give it to them, there's a binding contract.
Also, there's the fact that we don't have enough metal for them to do anything with the trees anyway. Like they could cut down a few trees a day maximum. They would need to launch a like full-scale attack on these whatever creatures make this metal in order to harvest enough to actually do anything.
What have you talked about in the contract about the trees? If we're going to use them as a bargaining tool, we should have that in the contract clear.
Well, the contract that we drafted basically just dealt with the dungeon.
Okay, so then
we're going to have to.
I think we should.
It makes sense that you guys made a tree one too.
Yeah,
I think
but like that would be like
the tree one would be what we were talking about, where
domestic trade versus
they have domestic trade.
Yes.
They have control over domestic trade, while the kingdom has control over international trade.
Okay. Did they take a look at that, or have we not handed that over? Then
we've not handed that.
So wait, give me what were their favors that they wanted again? Can you give me a reminder?
Tyrese wants a very important religious object that has been lost for a long time from the dungeon. Okay, and Brandlbaum, while he doesn't require anything specific from the dungeon, he would like a very, very rare and unique game for the lords to hunt for his sponsorship events.
I mean, I don't see why both of those couldn't be done.
Yeah. Okay. Grand Settlements, I do. No, I wouldn't say start it like that. I would say, what exactly is this religious artifact? If we may get some insight into it before we start pursuing it.
You see the Grand Salamence close their eyes as if taking a moment of reverence thinking about this object. Yes, of course.
Sounds like idol worship to me.
Ooh,
Oh no.
back.
And God smiteth her. Before answering, yes, the object would be known as Pelor's axe. It is, of course, not actually the axe wielded by the god himself. That would be altogether too silly for mere mortals to hold. But the axe of Pelor, there's an old story passed down in our temple of a farmer who was beset upon by this cruel and tyrannical lord. His village was stripped of him, his family taken away, and he was told to finish plowing the fields and making ready the village and making ready the resources for the kingdom in but 3 days' time, or else his family and friends would all be put to death. The farmer, not knowing what to do, spent 2 days praying to his god Pelor. And on the 3rd day, Pelor responded to his devotion by blessing his axe with the might of and energy of the sun itself. And with that energy coursing through his body, he was able to do the work of what would take a full village months in but a single day.
Wait, so he cut a bunch of trees? I'm looking for content.
Plowed fields, cut trees.
With an axe?
With an axe.
Poggers.
You could plow a field with an axe. It would just take a while.
Yeah.
Take a long time.
It's why it's like a religious story. It's, to be believed. This axe was held by our monastery for many years, but it was lost some 250 years ago during a unfortunate event at the temple.
Would Kiva
roll
know?
history, Kiva?
Okay, cool.
What is my modifier there? Plus, okay, yeah, 19.
So there is a time that some people who are frequent of the Temple of Beams, and as some of your family is connected to it, you've heard this around. Beans is called the time of the eclipse. And basically what happened is this is when the temple, which previously held majority religious power in the kingdom, there was a schism in the temple and it split. And
like a physical one?
No, like between two factions.
Okay.
And think like Luther nailing his complaints to the fucking door. There was a split in the worship of how the sun worshipped, and many followers and people higher up in the temple left, but not only left after stealing many important and very religious artifacts.
What assholes?
Where did they go then?
So for a while they tried to establish themselves as a 13th kingdom, which is why for historical buffs in the kingdom, you as well, there are very rare, printed for only a year and a half, minted coins with 13 small circles instead of 12. However, due to extreme religious disagreement, and as it was put in the documents of the time, personal and fundamental disagreements in societal expectations, the 13th kingdom was taken out of the circle and allegedly was defeated when they tried to rebel against the crown.
Sure.
Then why doesn't the crown have the axe?
Realistically, ran away and are now probably the remaining, those who survive are hiding underground or in thought to be uninhabitable or unexplored parts of the world.
Okay.
Is there any evidence that Paylor's X is even in this dungeon? Like, would there?
Well, we know that nothing has to be in it because we got notebooks from the Ravens. We got a crown from that disc from the crown. There's no way that stuff was just in there.
There is always the chance that the dungeon does not have it. However, it is a pretty safe bet that if it was lost instead of kept away, then those things that are lost often end up in the Artificer's dungeon.
The Artificer stole all my fucking socks.
I know, right?
Also, I love the idea that the seal that we got was just some prick just fucking lost it one time and that it just happened.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Lost could be, some prick probably just dropped it, but could also be lose this letter on purpose.
Oh. Okay.
So, I am going to propose that Ruby says something before Ruby actually says it to the party because it's risky. But I think what Ruby wants to say is that
I'm not going to stop it, but I also just like how they're like, all right, guys, we can't use our mind link. So instead, we're just going to spend an hour and a half metagaming.
In my head, all of this happened last night.
Yeah, okay, sure.
It's
so
like
sorry,
when you play it's like when you play Honey Heist or any other game like that. You get the flashbacks.
Yeah,
this is flashbacks to last night.
As I said, this is fine. I'm honestly, I love this, so this is fine.
So I think Ruby is going to just basically say, I think we have a way to make everyone in this room happy. We know of a way to harvest these trees with relatively little effort. It is a special kind of metal, and we know where it is from. It is from a certain kind of animal in a location that I will not disclose right now, that I believe would be I believe would be I think it would count as an exotic animal for you to hunt, and I think that it would make a lot of money for the crown. And in exchange for this information, our contract regarding the Artificer's Dungeon goes unchanged, and the trade of the trees is not controlled by the crown domestically, but internationally. The town here would have complete control over the domestic trade of the resources that they gather, but internationally, the crown would have authority over that.
That sounds good, but also we do still need to negotiate stuff about food for the town, guards, taxes, that.
So for the first time,
I mean, I think the food, they upped the food already. They
upped the food, but if they gave guards, then the guards would take from that food.
I think regarding the guards and stuff, the town should not be expected to bear the costs of
I don't think so.
Guards. I think that should go to.
So for the first time, Threll speaks up when you finish talking, Ruby. I just love everyone's face. Fuck.
But no. Okay. Yep.
Now, I do see some logic in that. Wisdom. And we do appreciate wisdom. She takes time, looks at the other two lords. You notice that she spends a little bit longer looking at Brandlebaum when she says that. Looks back. However, to ensure the economic security of the kingdom, there would need to be expectations set in place if we were to allow this town to handle domestic trade. You know, percentages going back to the kingdom, fixed prices that the kingdom should be able to buy the wood at, regardless of how the wood does in the market. Things such as that, to ensure that an even partnership is always continued.
I'm quite sure that this is already very favoring the kingdom. I mean, considering you have the rest of the entire world that has never
is it your
seen.
place to
Kit,
speak right
this
now?
is that was oh god.
I mean, I didn't interrupt her. She was done talking.
Was she?
She was. You didn't
Okay.
interrupt her, but she takes the time to look from Ruby to you.
I'm so tempted to do finger guns, but I won't. But just so you know, Anna's fingers do twitch.
I see. Now, do tell me, please. And you see as she stares at you, there's a glint of extreme interest in her eyes. Anna, was it? Do tell me what you have in mind of the kingdom's, what did you say, expectations?
Not quite expectations, but that the rest of the world has no idea that this wood even exists. So, feasibly, the crown could sell it for any price. But domestically, that has much less
Impact?
impact. Yes, exactly. Much less of an impact because, I mean, everybody here has seen these trees everywhere. And once the actual production, actual cutting down of these trees begins, it will mean pretty much nothing to the crown, who, I mean, I don't think the crown is really starving for such pittances of money, but across this sea, across in the continent, in the main continent, and then across the pond, I mean, this is not the only continent that exists in this world, clearly. We cannot be so, what is the word? We cannot believe that this land and the land that we all came from are the only places in this entire world. So places that are even further from this place that already has such a huge amount of these trees, they would be willing to pay potentially the worth of the kingdom for even one. So would the crown really want to fight over such a pittance of money when they could make so much for an absolute monopoly for trade anywhere else?
The way I see it, and do forgive me, I am, as you expressed, ignorant to other kingdoms existing. I have only ever known the one, as mine seems to have been demolished years ago.
I didn't say that. Absolutely would not say that. As Kate, I was like, oh shit. Willow was so ready to fucking kill Anna.
But I do believe that, understanding the interests of this kingdom as I do, with my time being spent here, while you do weave a sweet story of riches to be found in the further horizons beyond the ocean, in lands that may have never seen these trees before, much like us, I think the kingdom would prefer, at least in the immediate future, the financial certainty rather than a potentially lucrative gamble.
Out of character, I think that it wouldn't be a bad thing to give them priority access to buying the trees first. Because if this town's production outgrows the crown's needs, then they can still sell stuff. But giving the crown priority purchasing power, letting them buy first, I don't think a fixed price is fair, but
Yeah.
letting them buy first makes sense.
Then may we extend this one invitation that the crown would at least receive priority access to all the trees that we cut. However, the price would have to fluctuate depending on what the town needs. It with the town already putting in so much labor, so much education into how to cut these trees, how to properly process these trees, and then also undergoing all of the risks of these trees. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw this on the edge of town, but one of our cutting into these trees led to essentially lava just flowing freely into the town. And that is definitely something very, very problematic and definitely would lead to potentially financially risking entire sections of the town at a time. We would also have to come up with new procedures, new tools that can actually withstand these kinds of heats, these kinds of methods. And so not only would you be paying for the safety of these townsfolk, that would be making you so much money by producing so much labor and products that you've never seen before.
And with this, Lord Brandlebaum speaks up.
Cutting me off. Oh shit, okay.
Hold, my dear friend. Now, that is an interesting proposal. Are you suggesting that the town could take care of not only the labor of cutting down the trees, but the production of tools in order to cut down these trees? If that is the case, we could very much provide further benefits for the town.
It is completely dependent on how this discussion continues, Lord Brandlebaum.
Well then, if the town could take care of both the harvesting of the trees, and the well could be converted to allow for factory production of axes and other such things to cut down these trees and better transport these trees, we could see much more value being placed into this town.
Out of character again, we would need to work out a deal for how they would get the metal here.
Yeah, that would have
because
to also
no one
happen.
in this town could even
No, they are
think
not
about
level
going to
20.
get it.
No. Keep in mind, production was never a part of what this town was originally supposed to do. It was just cutting down trees.
I think that this town could have the capability to do that. I think that with the capital, it would more people would come here rather than just at the port city. So then all of that labor would also spread, and then the town would also be expanded from cutting down all these trees. And so we would definitely have the ability for labor and land to actually make such a worthy asset.
Provided that
we get the metal.
Provided that the special metal required to cut down these trees is brought here.
Okay, this is time for Kiva to unleash their skills because
that is something we could work out. But, my friend, as I would hope to explain to you so you can better understand, I think the fixed prices must indeed, for the kingdom to buy the wood from this town, it must remain a fixed price. Now understand, I gather that you are not as educated in economics and other such things, but let me give you a small lesson. Say, for instance, and you could ask any basic farmer this, and he would tell you the same, my friend. Say, for instance, there's a year, and everyone grows too much crop. You decide to grow tomatoes, and everyone grows tomatoes. And you have okay tomatoes, but everyone has these tomatoes. So now tomatoes are worth nothing, and you can sell them for nothing. So the crown buys them for nothing, and you make nothing. But now say, you get lucky in 1 year, tomatoes sell for a lot. Then you make some more, a little bit extra, but it's extra. Would you prefer that uncertainty, or would you prefer the certainty that every year, no matter what, the price will always remain the same, there will be no risk, and you can always sell those tomatoes for the same price and have that security?
My dear Lord Brundlebaum, I do see your point. However, that is only lucrative in a stable, relatively stable, and established industry. Right now, what we are talking about, what we are trying to flesh out, is a truly starting from the ground up, starting with production, starting with the tools for even production, with such an exponential curve of profits where we will start with little to nothing for these towns. I mean, we also have to train them. And if we're training them ourselves on this completely new way of cutting a completely new species, there is so much research and so much production and so much everything to.
You raise a good point. This is starting to seem a little expensive. We could just get slaves to do it. What do you think, Salamence?
Oh shit. I do believe that if we have the actual farm, so the issue with slaves, and by the way, this is okay. Before we ever like go into this, disclaimer: I do not condone slavery.
No.
Kit, the person, does not condone slavery. Anna does not condone slavery. But this is just talk. Anna's panicking inside, but we're continuing. So, the issue with slaves is that they're always trying to get away. And yes,
my God, no. I'm
Listen to this.
cutting you off right there. That is a bad thing to say. In or out of character. In character, that is stupid as hell.
No, listen to me. Okay.
No, I'm not going to, because I know what you're doing, and that's not a good idea. You can't just say the issue with slaves is that they're always trying to get away. Do you think that the South gave a shit?
Well,
They're
okay.
slaves.
But this
They
is
don't-
what. Okay, listen to what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
All right, don't say it in character.
I won't say it in character then. So, what I'm trying to say is that it'd be better. So, if the slaves are always trying to get away and they're trying to escape, well, then you also have to give more resources in order to make sure that there are people that catch them, people that keep them in line. And then also, yes, you can use magic and stuff, but that isn't like there's always new things that are coming up with magic. I mean, like the whole thing is that, like with magic, is that you're also, it's kind of like science in the way that we are like constantly trying to improve it. And so, I mean, there's nothing that's going to say that like that at the artificer's place where there's things that nobody's ever even heard of, that there isn't something that can like break those kinds of spells. So what I'm saying is that it'd be better in that kind of place where like you would lose a lot of actual money, a lot of potential labor, and you would have a lot of resources expended when it's already an expensive process, that why don't we just put it into the town? Because if you make that an investment, if you teach someone to fish, then you can feed them for their life. But if you just give them a fish, then you feed them for a day. And so that's what I'm trying to say.
I feel
That
like this is a little-
idiom
So here's
has
the
nothing to do with slavery.
But this
Problem
is, no, I'm
with
not
that.
talking about for slavery. I'm talking about for the actual, like by making.
Okay, yes, but Kit, listen. Paying people to catch slaves is not more expensive than paying people to do the work in the first place.
I'm saying that it'd be more long-term, less expensive.
It's not.
No.
We
That's
know
not
for a
how
fact
slavery
that
works.
it's not because
listen to
slavery
me.
exists.
No.
All right.
Listen to me for this. It would be less expensive because then they would make more money because the people that actually know what the fuck they're doing. If you actually train people, actually give them the chance to like
Do you
have
think that
freedom.
slaves weren't trained?
No. Oh my God, you're not listening. Okay,
No.
when you train people and have them have freedom, if you give money. Okay, this is a lot of my economics courses coming out, but like if you give people the ability to have freedom to make their own goods, have freedom to like make their own decisions, and whoa, my computer is running out of power. Give me a second. I need to plug this in, otherwise it's going to die. And we will...
Kit, I just think that this is not something we want to argue with them.
No, but like if you do that, then they make more money. Like that is actually a proven thing. And I know that for a fact because I've taken like 3 different economics courses, 5 different like financial accounting courses. This is a thing. Like, if you give them freedom to actually make their own decisions on how they use their knowledge about how they know these trees, then you get more products, you get more industry, you bring in more money, and that would be money for them as well because they would be getting tax money. And so
But
then
All right, wait. I
Yes.
see the issue. Lord Brandlebaum will explain. My friend, a very good point you raise, and one that is not altogether untrue. This, however, as you said, is a brand new market. To the point where there is no market. This is just what the kingdom wants. We think we can sell this. We're pretty sure we can sell this. But right now, the price is decided by us. If we want to pay 0 for it, we will pay nothing, and we will take the wood. Lives will be lives. We have plenty. We are offering this town financial stability. Regardless of if this sells or not, regardless if this does well or not, we will pay the same price, and the town will get that money.
But at such an unstable section of the beginning of this industry, you could actually handicap it to the point where it wouldn't be lucrative at all to even have it. If you set a fixed price at such an unstable point of the production, you will absolutely destroy this town and any chances of ever making any profits.
Perhaps I may have a solution to this problem.
Yes.
A fixed price for a certain number of years. Seeing how the industry grows or doesn't, from that point on, the price can be renegotiated. I think, personally, that I agree with you, my lord. I do believe that a fixed price for a certain amount of time would benefit the town. Stability, of course, is a much safer bet than riches.
That could be amenable.
Out of character, is there an inflation rate that we could stick it to?
I haven't fucking thought of inflation rates.
Well,
I mean,
if it's a fixed price, it has to
there
go up with
would
inflation.
be, because in any society there has to be inflation, especially a capitalistic one like this.
Yes. No, I mean,
However,
there is. I just haven't thought of
yeah.
the specific number.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
taken an economics class, don't ask me.
So could we also just give them a stipulation that of the duration of the contract, this is the fixed price. It will go up if inflation occurs with the selling of this product until the contract is renegotiated. So at least if the market suddenly does really well, the town will at least get more money as the price increases.
Absolutely. Threll, actually, takes this time to speak up as Lord Brandlebaum is talking to you, Anna, and goes, "Now, the tiefling does raise a not altogether incorrect point."
Yeah, human capital, bitch. Sorry, I didn't say that, but like that's Kit speaking.
Except here's the thing, that slavery is always going to make the slave owners more money. The other way makes the whole society richer, but it doesn't make the slave owners richer.
It would in long term. If you give everybody feels.
Do you think these assholes care about long term?
Okay, but like entire countries have been destroyed by their human capital leaving or not being cultivated. So if they should know, as leaders of entire kingdoms at one point, and now leaders of entire factions within a kingdom, that if they do not cultivate their human capital, they will make no profit. Long term, it is absolutely nothing. They will go down like the drain. Yeah, you'll get instant maybe gratification if we actually had an industry to work on, but we don't. We have to cultivate the human capital from the ground up, because even the people that know how to actually cut down trees do not actually know how to cut down these trees. So we have to start from the ground up, absolutely. And so if you do not cultivate that human capital now, you're not going to make any money anyways, because if you don't cultivate the human capital, it's just going to be slaves hitting a tree with a stick, essentially, because
this is all out of
Okay.
character.
We don't need to go into this anymore. It's not helpful to the story, to this or to us.
Also, question: does Anna know about financial stuff? economics.
There is absolutely no way that Anna knows that.
I was just assuming that Anna took financial courses in the monastery at this point.
I think she would probably like. Okay, so
Anna was a business major.
Anna was not in the front lines for sure. Like she was like doing like their backroom taxes, like backroom things. So like she probably was the one that actually did the taxes for all the church. Like
Anna
like,
cooked the
only-
books
Churches
for the
don't do
monastery.
taxes.
Yeah, no, like things like figuring out how to like take in the donations and like use them to actually like.
What's
take care of
Anna's
everything.
intelligence score?
She actually. Let me see.
As Threll
Use the
was
wisdom.
saying, you fucking economics debaters, goddamn.
I'm a business management student. I'm working towards that master's.
You're in theater arts.
Okay, so I'm a musical theater major, but I'm also working towards a business management master's.
That is very
so.
fair. I mean, if you want to be in arts, you need business to know how to market yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Shit, Julie's a 13 in intelligence.
also, fun fact:
What's wisdom?
Kit didn't realize that getting a master's in something was graduate school. They were talking to me and they were like, I'm never gonna go to graduate school. And then they were like, yeah, I want to get a master's in business. And I was like,
Right.
you mean you're gonna minor in business? And they were like, no, master's. And I was like,
Okay,
that's graduate school. And
Anna
they just
has
went,
high-
shit.
Anna has high wisdom, low intelligence. I have high intelligence, low wisdom.
Hi, Wisbum.
Wisdom. It works. It's strong of the brain, not of the soul.
Fair enough. All right. As Threll was saying,
Yeah.
you have a fair enough point. However,
Is Thrall German too?
I am
Oh.
jumping between 3 different acts. I'm gonna find your house, turn it on its head.
Please do.
I would like
Glue
to
all
see
your
you
shit to the ceiling.
try.
All your shit to the ceiling.
Fight me, bitch.
Put fucking crazy glue in your underpants. I don't know. Make it so you can't open them. Put them on in the morning. I don't know.
Rip. They're only there for aesthetics now.
Gorilla glue on your door hinges. Have fun with that.
Oh shit.
I
I
once
will
gorilla
kick
glued a
the
wooden.
door down.
I once gorilla glued a wooden sword to my hand because I was trying to fix it.
Good job. Anyways,
Hey,
Thrall.
constant fight.
It
Cannot be
literally
unarmed.
melted onto my skin. It was kind of crazy.
Cannot be unarmed. Always fight.
As Thrall was saying,
Anna would do that.
Anna would do that.
your points are not incorrect. And if we wish to grow this market, it is not a bad course of action to take. However, this isn't even a market we're sure we want to grow. We're not even sure we want to sell this.
Yes, they are.
I know Brandlebaum wants the bark. It seems to make good craft for arrows or bow. I know I desire the sap. And Tyrese, you wanted a full tree, did you not? These aren't for purposes of selling. Now, if we find they could be sold, they could be used, that investment will become very much worth it. But as of right
The
now,
Cult
we're
of Plenty
simply
also
not
wanted the bark,
sure.
by the way.
Yes, they did.
They just don't want to say. Does the throw have more to say, or was that the end?
That's it.
Okay, I just don't want to cut
Yep.
off a dignitary again. I see your point. However, how will we ever find those benefits if we don't invest that money? If we immediately start siphoning money away from this capital, which we are already trying to industrialize, to develop, then are we really making a capital, or are we just making a scapegoat?
What the fuck does that even mean?
A financial scapegoat?
Yeah, but like that's how is paying a fixed price for a shorter amount of time going to fucking
Okay. If you take away money from an industry that's okay, you already need so much capital in order to start an industry that is already set up. but we're going to have to do research. We're going to have to develop. We're going to have to find people to actually get the metal, because we're not actually certain that Brandon Baum's going to go get the metal and actually sell it to us. So we might have to do that ourselves, which would also cost money. We would also need to make sure that we take care of all the people. And then there's also going to be the guards that are going to be there that are going to also have to protect this area. We're also going to have to make sure that the people that are actually taking care of the artificer's place, we need to come up with some kind of way to form like an actual thing and actually pay them so they actually maintain that shit. And so there's a lot of things like that we like, if you take money away already from this industry that is going to be supporting this entire town.
Make the crown pay for it. Make the crown pay for research and development. Make the crown pay for specialists. Make the crown pay for all of this.
That's a lot of things that we don't have.
I think that
the
giving
power
them
to negotiate for.
Fixed
Why
price
not?
for a few years is the best option that we have heard to now.
Yeah.
They're not going to like we to be blunt, the town does not have the resources to do it on their own. It is impossible.
Yeah.
They could not do it. So we need to rely on the crown for some stuff anyway. And if giving them a fixed price for a certain amount of time for makes them pay for all of that upfront stuff, then that's great, because there's no way that the town could do this on their own.
Okay.
We couldn't go get the metal, so it's a non-starter.
In character. I think that provided that the crown funds the resources to get this production up and running off the ground, we have space, we have, well, I'm not sure if any of you actually were aware of this, but a distant faction of my family actually previously had a production factory out here, not too far away. I'm sure much of that could be repurposed to use as a way of producing the tools necessary. We have the natural resources out here. We simply don't have the money. So,
well, for something like this, as even though the king is and the kingdom is in wartime so tightly strapped for cash, something like this, money will be found. Now,
what war are they fighting? Didn't they say that they've conquered all the known kingdoms and that there was no one on this continent to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
So who are they fighting?
There's always wars going on.
Yeah, but who are they claiming to fight
So
right now?
Currently there are mostly border wars. Either with foreign kingdoms, groups that have been previously slighted by the kingdom and have since formed in communities outside of the kingdom's influence and are trying to push into the kingdom's sphere of influence, and other such things. As for the discussion of this fixed price, as for the discussion of all these things, this village is not something we wish to see crumble under such heavy burdens of becoming such an important place in the kingdom's eyes. We would absolutely, and with this, Thrall looks once again at you, Anna, love to discuss and find a price that would be amenable to ensuring the continued economic survival and even growth of this village.
That is all I ask, Thrall.
Of course. It is not the kingdom's desire to make its citizens suffer. It's only in these harsher times that we may ask of such heavier burdens.
Did we already decide on how long this would go on for, the fixed prices?
It is not something we've fixed into stone yet.
Okay. Out of character, if we have fixed prices, as long as we don't have a fixed amount that needs to be given to them every year, then we should be fine. Like, so at the beginning, fixed prices aren't great at the beginning. It's honestly horrible. It is not only horrible even in a stable economy, but it's even more horrible when it's like a completely unstable community. So
I mean, they also do have a point that there's no one to sell it to yet.
yeah,
Like,
but you know that people
we
would fucking
haven't
jump on that.
established the market.
But people would jump on that shit. If they saw any of the benefits, they would jump on that.
But just so, like, when we're in the beginning, in the development phase, like still building all the factories, building all the stuff, that investment at the top would be greatly reduced by knowing how much money we're going to get.
I mean, wouldn't it be better at, like, doesn't it make more sense at the beginning to have like a guaranteed stable profit or like
depends
income?
on how much we actually put into this. So if they actually do cover all the research, cover all the actual expenses, all like the training and stuff at that cost, then that we do not suffer at all if we have a fixed price at the beginning for a set amount of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what
I don't think they're going to do that completely for
us.
That's what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, that's what I
Are
was
they really
saying.
going to cover all the research?
That's what
we don't.
If that is what is put down
either.
and agreed upon in the contract, that is what will have to happen.
Like, the only research would be what's the best shaped axe for this. Like,
I mean, the research hasn't happened, but you can write this down and get this in writing.
Okay. Let's put that in the contract then.
Yeah.
How long do they want to have it as a fixed rate? 5 years?
I predict building an infrastructure will take. Yeah, that was not a bad estimate, young Anna. 5 years shouldn't be too long.
All right.
Okay, I know we don't like her, but also like I like that.
Kiva's gonna be the one who's gonna be like writing this down. By the way, they have lovely penmanship.
Oh, obviously, absolutely beautiful calligraphy. Okay.
Now then.
And I believe us having a fixed rate for 5 years, while the crown helps fund our research, funds the tools, the potential expeditions in order to actually retrieve this metal. And we would give all of the information that we have on how to actually obtain this metal and give our assistance as needed, as we have already been. We are the pioneers of being able to process this new technology and actually being able to begin the production and retrieval of these resources.
Thrall speaks up again. I'm so very glad we could come to this agreement. It warms my heart, and it seems like your sense about the people in this town and their trust in you is well placed. You seem to have their best interests in mind.
So scared of why is she agreeing with me? Can I roll insight?
I do have a small thing to ask of you. If you wouldn't mind, I've heard so much of this companion of yours traveling about. Brandlebaum does have his uses. I would love just 10 minutes of time later today to have a conversation with your friend Remus.
No. I'm afraid Remus's schedule is their own. We cannot speak on their behalf, as I'm sure you understand.
Truly a shame. I had so hoped that one hand would help the other, but I understand.
Yes, I'm so sorry, but we don't have any power over Remus. Remus is a citizen of ours, or I'm not even sure if they're from this continent.
No, of course. I wasn't asking for you to demand he meet with us. I just wanted a simple introduction.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Introductions.
I think we could just bring them to Remus.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
they're just they're just around town anyway. If they wanted to meet Remus, they would meet Remus.
Yeah,
I know, but if we give in too easily, we also at the same time.
Kit, I think we need to agree to this. I think we need to.
We say we will do as much, because what if Remus doesn't want to talk to them? Maybe Remus has beef with Thrall. Maybe this is the person that has been trying to kill Remus and all of their colleagues.
Look,
I don't think they
let's just say
potentially.
Okay.
I say that we should say we will ask Remus something like that.
Okay. We will, of course, talk to Remus about introducing you, of course. I don't see why there would be any reason we couldn't. It'll be entirely up to them as to how that will come about.
Of course.
Can I roll insight into why they want to know about Remus and why she's so fucking agreeable with me? Because it's making me on edge.
Sure, go roll insight.
Can I roll perception again?
Nat 20.
I'm worried if we don't do this also that Thrall will take it as a slight, because we've already talked to Teresi and Randall Mom about doing it their favors. So if we don't do Thrall's favor, she could perceive it as a, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, but also I think
Did we agree to go get the axe?
No, but this is the only thing she's asked of us. Other than
like
the contract.
we entertained the idea.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that this is someone that we have no control over, because we can speak for the town. That's the whole thing of this, is that we only have power to talk about ourselves and the town. We cannot talk for someone that is completely unrelated to us. And if we try to, then that not only would show us that we are out of our depth, that we are overreaching our political power, because what if Remus doesn't want to meet? What if Remus after he's like, you know what, adios, because Remus can.
Well, I think what we said is
I think
fine.
Yeah, I'm explaining that to my perspective to Leah, because I think that, like, yes, Thrall could have taken it like that, but I think that Thrall is at least like a leader that understands the nuances of that we do not actually have power over Remus. I think the way that we explained it was pretty clear that
frankly, I think that downright denying that request though would be a bad idea.
Yeah, of course.
And it's also, Remus has been hanging out with the monks, so they're walking into Thrall is walking into dangerous territory if she plans to fuck shit up. Like,
Thrall nods.
18 on perception, by the way.
Okay.
I got a nat 20 on insight on the things I asked for.
Thrall is almost impossible to read, Anna. However, because you got a nat fucking 20.
I have a +6 to insight too, if that helps.
You do notice 3 things. 1, they seem completely to not give a shit about what's going on, unless you, Stenna, or Remus are mentioned.
I think she has a relationship with my dad, but I'm not going to say that to the mind link or what. But Anna...
Wait, Anna, Stenna, or Remus?
I think... So, Thrall has a relationship with the broker. We know that. So I think that helps explain at least Stenna. I think Remus is able to, like... has some kind of connection with the trees, like is able to like get out of like those kinds of situations with the trees too.
It's the heart.
And the heart, because I think Thrall, like I kind of interpret that, because I mean Thrall is being like her existence, and the way that she's being held is like the exact way that the heart was being carried around, and I'm like, that's a little bit too similar. I don't like that.
Do they worship the void dragon?
No.
But then
plenty. There's no draconic imagery at all about there.
But they're pretty much a sadomasochism cult, and I mean sadomasochists don't want to die, but like
I think a lot of assumptions.
I hope they don't want. I mean, the people in our world don't just want to die. They like. I think that. But
no, I was talking about the sadomasochism thing.
But like they self-mutilate and like flagellate.
That's
and
the
also,
cult. That's the flagellants are not the cult of plenty.
Oh wait. Let me go back. I don't say like the actual main cult, but like the I have in my throw notes that they're always looking for newcomers to join, and like since they're sadomasochists.
Yeah, because you only kept calling them sadomasochists because the fucking tubes going into the people. That's just like, H.R. Geiger wasn't a fucking sadomasochist.
I remember
How do
you
you
saying
know?
that they like.
I don't, but you don't either.
They, like,
I don't even
punish-
know who that is, so.
Dude who made the aesthetic for Alien.
They tend to. I mean, so I have written down what you told us. Let me know if this was wrong. That the cult of planning is in charge of the prison systems. They're in charge of punishing people under the law, and often are punished under the law, but it is treated as part of their worship. So they self-mutilate or hurt themselves in order to further their worship.
No, this is all true.
Okay, so
that is masochistic.
that's
I know.
they're willingly and consensually doing this.
Yeah, no, I know.
So I actually have. I feel like they would go out to people and be like, "Hey, would you give up everything in your life for the BDSM life of your dreams?" That's honestly like.
Okay.
I feel like that is
So-
their tagline. But
In relation to Thrall, also, there were 3 creatures that potentially the heart could have been related to. It was Atrados, the World Walker, and He Who Walks Behind the Mist. Is there any sign of the other 2, or is there anything that we would be able to connect to whatever Thrall is sitting on?
Nothing immediately obvious.
I think that.
I mean, if we want to get more intel on why Thrall cares about Remus, I think
Setting
they
up a meeting
have
would
to
be
meet.
good.
Yeah. I think what we said is fine with Remus. It makes. I have a weird feeling that she's into my dad.
Don't say it
not
like
that,
that.
but like is
That's
interested
the
by my
second
dad.
time. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not exactly
Wait,
surprised.
is my dad a dilf?
Also, like,
He's like the king of hell. Of course he's a dilf.
Of course he's a dilf.
I don't think
anyways,
he has a gender.
Oh, and of course they're a
pilf,
pilf.
pilf.
Parent. Parent, I'd like to fuck.
I just took that as person.
Oh, person, yeah. Oh, then
Um,
that's just anyone that you're interested in.
anyways, yes. So Thrall is,
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I'm glad that we at least got that cleared.
and for my 18 perception,
What were you trying to perceive again? There was a lot of rolls going on.
so just sort of generally around the room, because one, there was something that Stenna apparently missed. Kiva probably can't perceive that because it's not something they know about, but that in general, and then also Anna felt eyes, felt like she was being watched.
So Kiva, looking around the room with an 18, the attendants are all standing at attention. Not much is going on. For the first time, you start to think about why in a room where there's pillars, but otherwise, other than the pillars, every wall and ceiling piece is made out of see-through glass to let the sun shine in.
Oh.
Why there are such deep shadows in certain corners of the room and certain areas in the pillars. And then the more you look at those shadows, the more you start to see a drawn bow and arrow with a cloaked, almost elvish face behind it. All these bows trained on your group.
Fuck.
and does it
this. Fuck us.
appear
Jesus Christ.
that the lords are aware of this?
To your best guess, this is most likely either the Rootway, owned by Lord Brandlebaum, or the Wild Hunt, owned by Lord Brandlebaum.
Does it look like they're all part of? Oh, so they're all part of the same group. Okay.
And
I mean, the dude runs 2 different highly elite
Yeah.
mercenary groups, so of course that makes
Yeah.
sense. But
I'm gonna take a risk here and say this through the mind link.
Okay.
I'm gonna say there are archers in the corners of the room.
Okay.
Anna hardly blinks.
I think that was more directed at Thrall than it was to us.
Yeah.
I think
This-
Ruby just
can I
kind of
roll-
assumed that they had some way to kill us if
Yeah.
they wanted to.
Can I roll insight to see if Threll's expression changes at all?
Sure.
Like
Roll
absolutely
insight.
at all. 22.
There is no change.
Cool.
I just, think that it would be good to have her on our side of it.
With this agreement reached with Threll, the other two lords then turned to your group expectantly. Now then, back to our offers on the dungeon. Brandlebaum, what do you think? Is it something you can agree to?
Brandlebaum wants
Well,
us to show a
I
new
believe
exotic
we
thing.
just gave you the most, or some of the most exotic creatures that you could hunt.
That is true. I'm, quite honestly, rather satisfied. Tyrese, now being the only one looking expectant, and my axe.
Oh, wait. Should we figure out
I'm
something
down to
with
go because I want to go back to
Wait.
that place, but yeah,
But like,
sorry.
should we figure out with Brandlebaum about like the metal? Because if we do give the information, he doesn't have any need. He doesn't have the need to like actually give us any of that metal. And we haven't explicitly said yet that that metal is what we need to produce things. And I know that
Yes,
We have.
explicitly said that we need that.
Yes, Ruby said that when they first brought it up. Also, contract. We write it out in the contract. It's binding. It's probably magically binding in this fucking world.
We just need to, yes, Anna, that is correct. We need to make sure that part of the contract is supplying us with the metal.
Yeah. Maybe we could have the crown pay for that as part of the research things, but then we will actually do the processing of it.
Yeah, wait.
Like, we have the crown buy the raw resources and then we do the processing.
I mean,
I feel like a lot of blacksmiths and a lot of different tradesmen will end up moving to this new capital as soon as it's officially established. So then those people would be able to help do the research on this kind of stuff, especially since they would be working with a new material. I know that tradesmen love that shit. Like they will like lose their mind over something absolutely so brand new and be able to, the chance to start a whole new industry.
Is that not what we were already like planning?
Yeah, but we need to figure out how to get the raw materials from them.
No. The crown was gonna fund, because that's part of research. The crown has to fund the expeditions.
But is that, we were talking about like
research into how to cut these trees down, and part of that is research in how to get the metal that can cut the trees down.
Lord Brandlebaum can't, just because he'll probably be the one hunting the creatures doesn't mean that he can just like
have a monopoly on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if the crown initially pays him to go on the expeditions, that's more money.
True. Okay. As long as that, I just wanted to make sure that was clear, because I mean, okay, if we actually had a contract in front of us, I would make sure that that was like explicitly said. But if that is implicitly said, then I am also fine.
No, that
it should be explicitly said.
You can assume that is in the contract.
Okay, cool.
Kiva is drafting this. They're not leaving anything out. They know how to work loopholes.
And then I'm okay with doing the thing for Therese.
Yeah.
Therese.
All right, so it's just look at her and be like, that could be arranged, of course.
And as soon as you say that, Brandlebaum claps. Wonderful, then we are all in agreement. Please. And as soon as he says please,
all archers come out?
No. The sun in the room gets much, much brighter for a moment. And then once it there are attendants standing behind each of you.
Oh, okay.
Each one holding a jeweled goblet that they place in front of you. Inside the jeweled goblet is a lovely, almost ruby-like substance. It's dark red.
They put me in a cup?
Yeah, I know, right? It's amazing. Well, let us toast the time. My finest vintage of black cherry vine.
Would it be bad for me to cast Detect Poison and Disease?
You can go for it.
Cool.
Would they
But like, would it get me in trouble?
Probably not.
Can you do it on all of ours? And then
it's like a thing I can sense poison.
My finest vintage of black cherry vine, please.
And she's someone to detect magic as well.
You notice as you guys are casting detect poisons that Threll.
The other two are also.
Threll is also casting detect poison, and Therese has just handed the cup to one of her attendants. to one of their attendants.
Oh, because they're gonna drink it first. Is there any magical things if we do detect magic?
Other than the latent enchantments that were like used on the berries during the growing process of the wine and the fermenting of the wine, there is no actual like magical work on the wine.
I just cast detect poison and disease, not detect.
Yeah, no, someone else
I know.
can detect magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is no poison or disease in the wine.
I figured, but
Okay. Cool gnosis. I'm fine with that.
oh yeah, I'll drink it.
Anna is being very like trying to be very calm, holding the wine.
It's definitely like shaking a bit.
Like it's a slight shake, but like it's imperceivable.
You could only tell if you were looking at the wine itself because it's rippling just slightly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kiva doesn't drink, so they're going to pretend to drink, but I want to like make sure that nothing changes in the contract while we're all doing this.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Roll sleight of hand, Kiva.
Oh my.
15.
Okay, you think
I have plus 4, so 19.
you think you do a pretty good job at making it look like you're drinking when you're not drinking. Anna,
Great.
your first time trying black cherry vine.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost basically like drinking grape juice. This basically goes down your throat, cool, smooth, refreshing, and about 5 minutes later you start to feel it.
And it goes, Lord Roundabout, this vintage is absolutely divine.
Ah, yes. I grew it myself. I would hope so. It is a small passion project of mine to really bring out the strength of the vine.
It's quite excellent.
Okay, so we negotiated everything, like including like the taxes for the town and
I think the
guard
taxes
and
staying
everything.
the same is actually good because they're going to start
Yes.
making a lot more money.
Yeah, the taxes stayed the same, but basically the crown funds everything going into this project.
And then we're still doing the sliding skill for the
Yes.
They agreed to what we planned to do
with
for
the favors
thing, yeah.
Okay. Well, I vibe with that. I think we got everything we wanted. We didn't have to give them out any of the other stuff that we had. That's pretty cool. Pretty neato. We did great. Good job, team.
No, you guys did better than I expected.
And Kiva didn't really talk.
Yeah, Anna did it. I'm like,
well, it's not my fault I don't know anything about economics. I wasn't expecting to have to debate
I have an entire section here that is just slights if you pissed them off.
Oh, can I hear them? Can I hear some of them? Or should we do that now? Should we do them after?
No.
Wait, is this like they would like repost us like by like doing
this
like
is
the slight, or if we fucked it over?
This is stuff that they will remember, and then we don't get to know about until like it comes into play.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like retorts.
No,
that's what I thought so too.
Understand here, this is a political game. You may win, but if you pissed off a lord, that means they're probably going to send someone to take your head.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm so proud of Anna.
I
know I'm Anna, but like my impulse control for this character that I tend to just let loose with.
Let me wrap this up so people can go on time.
Oh shit.
Dang.
Everything is finalized. The contract is had.
I'm gonna check it again.
Contract
I'm gonna check it for invisible
All is
stuff.
good. All is good.
Cool.
The contract is signed. When it is signed, it is rolled, sealed. Brandlbaum smiles.
Do we have a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay.
A copy is made, given. Brandlbaum smiles. The other two do not.
Anna smiles back.
Well, my friends, it was enlightening to meet you all.
It was enchanting to me.
Adieu.
Sorry, I thought he was done.
And of course, and he looks at you, Ruby. If you ever get the desire to come speak with me, I do have a potential employment opportunity just for you, my friend. You would work well in the root way.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
That sounds cool as hell. But
Yeah, win.
Thank you for your offer. I will keep that in mind.
Just something to consider. If
I'm
you ever
assuming
go
that I
by.
have already told them where to find the
Yes.
stuff after
Yeah.
after we signed. I told them where to find it and everything.
Lord Brandlebaum bids you farewell. Grand Salaman's Tyrese comes up to you, Kiva, and puts their hand on your shoulder. Politics aside.
They're like,
yeah, no. They're like, in their mind, they're making some like extremely grand and kind gesture by kneeling down and putting their hand on their shoulder. Like they're doing some amazingly charitable thing. Like,
seriously.
my child, I grieve with you for the loss of your cousin. He was
I just saw your shoulders tense up so much, Felix.
truly one of a kind.
Oh my god.
If ever you need a place to come to, a warm place to sit, and if ever anything strange may happen that you may start to question, I am always here to listen.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'll talk about this
Get this religious fundamentalist asshole out of here. I don't want to see her anymore.
It's like he was like.
Or them.
Eva,
I don't
you also
remember which
notice
one.
that when they say, and if anything strange were to ever happen, their eyes look directly onto where your tattoo for the inheritance appeared and then disappeared.
Wait, is that part of their? Where was that
The hand.
tattoo on the hand? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not like they didn't
Like,
get
look
the
at your
tattoo
shoulder.
done.
I just remembered I have a blue
No.
paw print on my hand.
They glance down at your hand and then back at your eye, into your eyes.
Kiva like keeps from clenching their hand. They're just like very carefully just not.
Threll looks at you, Stenna, and then to you, Anna. Smiles. Do remember our agreement. I look forward to meeting this interesting fellow.
We will be in contact with you shortly, Thrall. It
And
was enchanting to meet you all.
if you ever need to, my dear, do stop by. There's always plenty for everyone.
That's so stupid.
I
do need to go now though.
Yes.
So
As you leave, Lord Brandlebaum says, "My friends, have fun." And as the doors behind you close, I need Stenna, Ruby, and Anna to make Constitution saving throws as the hallucinogenic properties of the vintage begin to take hold.
that is.
And that's where we're gonna end.
all right. Bye.
19. Okay.
It's not that you've been
Bye.
poisoned. Y'all are now just tripping balls.
Wonderful.
The
Wonderful.
16
Kiva's gonna
for
have to
me.
fucking get all of them out of here. Oh god.
I got a
I
19.
got a 16. I'm pretty good. I'm okay.
I'm maintaining this
13.
score. I refuse to roll this again next session. I got a 19. We stick
Sadly,
by
you
this
had
19.
to get a 20 to no.
Thank
Okay,
God
yeah.
Kiva only pretended to drink because they are so
Kiva,
small.
Your lips are just tingling like mad, but otherwise you're fine.
Oh wait, poor Threll too. Threll's like on her platform, like whoa.
I just imagine Threll falling off and like wiggling around like a turtle.
Oh no. Oh wait, are we done streaming?
Yeah, we're done streaming.